Good morning, everybody. It's December 4th, 2023. This is Vlogmas Day 4. It is 10:51 a.m. So I'm going to tell you guys about my routine on a typical day when I telework. So I wake up at 6:30 in the morning, and then I go wake my daughter up because she goes to school first. So I typically wake her up, make her breakfast, make sure she has her multivitamin for the day, and then while she's getting dressed, I typically just kind of relax a little bit. Her clothes are ironed the night before. She's old enough that she knows how to dress herself, and so I don't have to worry about that. She brushes her teeth, washes her face. This morning, I did have to take a little time doing something to her hair. I typically do her hair Sunday night, and that style will last through the week. But as you guys know, my weekend was pretty hectic. So I knew I wasn't going to get home in time to do that. And so I just kind of sprayed some water, put some gel, and put in a cute little ponytail for the day. And then she has to be at school. The doors open at 7:10, and students have to be there by 7:30. So I drop her off. We always pray in the car about, what I expect for her and what God expects for her, to be obedient and respectful, to listen to her teachers, to remember that she is not in charge and she can't tell people what to do, i.e., I can't tell my teachers, no, I don't want to do that. You don't have that kind of authority. Those kind of conversations every single morning. And then once I drop her off, I come back home. Normally get home about, because her school's only 6 minutes away, so maybe about 7:20, 7:30. When I get home, I typically get back in the bed for a little bit, because my son, he doesn't leave for school until 9, so he's in high school. He doesn't need me to do all that stuff for him that I do for her. He can wake up on his own and all that stuff. So I typically will go back to sleep, set my alarm for 8:40. I get up, I go in the living room, and I just kind of go back to sleep on the couch until I hear my son come out of his room and he's about to head out the door. So once he comes out of his room, I get up and I put my hands on his head and I pray over him before he walks out the door and goes to the bus stop. And then after that, I come back, check my email. If I have something I need to respond to right away, I do it. If I don't, then I may be tempted to lay back down for a little bit longer. Not too long, but it's like, okay, I'm already kind of groggy. Let me just kind of get myself together. So lay down, get up. I have the computers on. So the way my setup is I have a laptop from work. I have a monitor that my husband bought me for Christmas a few Christmases ago. And I have my personal laptop. So all the screens are open right now. Obviously, I do work on my laptop. On the monitor, I'll typically watch a podcast, just because I don't like silence unless I'm asleep. Actually, no, not even then. I'm not a big fan of silence, so I typically have to be listening to something, listening to a podcast, listening to music. I need something in my head when I'm doing work. I make my to-do list, and my to-do list is normally split in half. It's normally stuff that I need to do actually for work and the stuff I need to do for home. One of the things that I do from home I try to remember to do every day, is I have this dry erase board in the refrigerator that I call the chore board. So before my babies get home from school, I put their names at the top and write down the individual chores that they need to do. And for the most part, it's the same thing every school day. Is pick out your clothes for tomorrow. For my son, he needs to iron his clothes. For my daughter, she needs to pick out the jewelry she's going to wear, and she needs to pack her snack. They both need to charge their Chromebook for school. And then occasionally maybe something else in there. So like, I'm cooking dinner tonight for tomorrow, and my son is very interested in learning how to cook more things. On his chore board is going to be cook with mommy, and we're going to make pork chops. So he's going to work with me to season the pork chops, to fry them, and then I'm putting the slow cooker tonight, so I don't have to worry about it tomorrow. But he's going to help me with that. And I also have laundry I didn't finish because, again, the weekend was crazy. So my son knows how to wash the clothes, so I'm most likely going to have that on his chore board as well, that he's going to have to wash the remainder of the clothes. My daughter, the only reason why she's not doing some of these things in terms of like washing clothes, for instance, because she can't reach the buttons yet on some of the washing machines and the stuff. And I'm gonna, at some point she's gonna learn how to do that. But right now, my son can wash clothes. Of course, they'll both put the clothes away, and that's probably it for their chores. But since I'm gonna be doing work today, the vlog won't be terribly interesting. I normally leave to get my daughter about, she goes to aftercare, which technically she doesn't need to do when I tell her, but I'm like, Whether she goes 1 day a week or goes 5 days a week, it's still the same amount. So it's like I might as well just let her stay because school lets out at 2:30. She don't need to be home that early. Aftercare's up until 6. But I normally will leave her there to maybe like 4:30, 5 o'clock, and then go pick her up, bring her home. And my son's bus drops him off normally about 4:45. So I have time. Like I said, it's barely 11 o'clock. One thing I probably should do is eat breakfast. I eat breakfast pretty late just because, again, after my son goes to school, I typically will lay back down for a little bit. But yeah, I should probably eat something. I'm not that hungry, but I think I'm going to make myself eat something just a little small. Monday's always a very slow day at work, so I have a lot more wiggle room to do some of the personal things. But I do have some actual physical work that I need to do today, so I'm going to handle that. Get myself something to eat. I'll take you guys with me as I do the cooking lesson with my son. I love the fact that he's expressed an interest in learning how to do it and just working alongside me. He asked me if at least once a week he could help me cook something. And you know, he's 14, and some of you say, oh, it's past time that he did stuff. Let me tell you how different everybody's experiences are. When I was 14, I didn't know how to do any of this stuff at all. I didn't learn how to cook until I started dating my husband. We've been together for 20 years and I'm 42. So obviously I was a grown woman out of college when I learned how to cook. And I only learned how to cook from his mother and his grandmother because they were like, we love our son / grandson. He's lazy. He knows how to cook, but he's not going to cook because he hates it and he's lazy. And we don't want him to starve. So we're going to teach you how to cook so he doesn't starve. It's like, okay. And honestly, I was like, I should probably know how to cook some things. And they started me with spaghetti, chili, and chicken wings, like just baking chicken wings. So I started from there and then just gradually started building my own repertoire of what I'm comfortable making. And that was pretty much that. That was pretty much history. I don't necessarily like cooking. I don't hate it. But I understand the importance of knowing how to take care of yourself. And so I'm glad my son is showing an interest. So I'm excited to have this journey with him to teach him how to make certain things. You know, he and his sister already know how to sort the laundry because I didn't do that at all when I was younger. My father did all the laundry in our house. And he, you know, I didn't learn how to wash clothes until I went away to college because nobody taught me. And it didn't dawn on me to ask. So I want my children to be a lot more independent when they leave here than I was. So I'll take you guys with me to make pork chops with him. And that'll probably going to be a very light vlog today. I'm not going anywhere. This weekend wore me out. So typically during the week, I don't go many places. But who knows? Maybe something will pop up and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I got to do this. But I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'll take you guys with me later on. Now I need to actually do some work. So see you guys later. Forgot to tell you guys, I bought some more decorations for the house. So this is something I've always dreamed about doing this. This is my inner white woman who on our dining room table every month, every season, I want to change the centerpiece so that it matches the theme of whatever's happening. I don't typically do that. In my head, it's like, oh, I should do this all the time. And I just don't. But I want to show you guys what I did. It's very simple. I have the thing that everything is on I already owned. Because again, I had in my head that, oh, this would be a nice little... Let me show you because you're probably like, what the heck are you talking about? This thing I already owned. And I typically just keep the candle on here and paper towels. And that's normally it. But I was like, oh, let me just add some stuff to spruce it up. So this candle I already had. This is my first initial. And one of my sisters gave this to me when I turned 40. And I just love the color scheme. Is white and silver, so it matches perfectly. Everything else on here came from Dollar Tree. So you can decorate without spending a lot of money. Because I showed you guys the door covers and the wrapping paper on the doors. Those all came from the Dollar Tree as well. I don't see the point of spending a lot of money on decorations. That's only going to stay up for a few weeks anyway. And it's not like I'm going to repackage this stuff and like use it next year. This is fake snow. It's glittery, sparkly. So I put that on the bottom. I got a couple bells. These aren't real bells, which is great. That means the kids won't be driving me crazy when they're eating dinner. And then I got this little vase also from the Dollar Tree. And there's these beautiful just leaves of red and silver. So something very simple, but as soon as you see it, you know that, oh, this is for Christmas. This is a Christmassy thing. So I just wanted to show you guys that. Very simple, very inexpensive. Like I said, everything was, well, everything went $1 now because Dollar Tree is tripping. Instead of everything being $1, it's $1.25. Everything was $1.25 though. It wasn't too bad. I like it. And actually, I think we put one more thing on there. I noticed something in my china cabinet that would work out perfectly because it is the right color scheme. This is something that used to belong to my late grandmother. It's a snow globe, which is perfect for winter. We see it's white and silver, has an angel inside, and it says something on the bottom. Some people come into our lives and quietly go. Others stay a while, make footprints on our hearts, and we are never ever the same. I went through a period of time where I tried to collect snow globes when I was like a little girl. And this is just something really pretty. And it matches the color scheme, so I'm going to put it little centerpiece here. Especially with the angel. I think that is very pretty. Move the bell over a little bit. I'm all about symmetry too. That's why it's hard for me to be creative sometimes. And when you're creative, nothing technically needs to make sense. You can just put everything's everywhere, but here we go. So silver and red and white. Centerpiece, which sounds like to me that should be the theme of our tree. We don't have any red ornaments. So I think it'll just be a white silver ornament thing. My Christmas tree is a black Christmas tree. That was very important to me for whatever reason. So probably just have a white and silver tree. Hopefully, I would like to put the tree up this week and decorate it with my babies. They get excited when we do that. So if we do that, that'll be another thing that I'll vlog about. But yeah, just wanted to show you guys my centerpiece real quick. Hey everybody, it is Mama to Wife of One here with another Christmas shopping tip. For parents, do not forget to buy something for your children's teachers. Now, I will say that I think that even though this is a good thing to do, it should stop after your children leave elementary school. I did it one year when my son was in middle school, and that was just too much money for too many teachers. So at least for elementary school, give it to your child's primary teacher. Now, I know they have a teacher for PE and music and all that stuff, the primary teacher. So this year, I'm going to get a small gift for my daughter's 2 teachers because she's in a classroom that has 2 teachers, and for the 2 people who run the aftercare program that she's a part of. And it doesn't have to be anything big. You don't spend a lot of money. Gift cards are always a good idea. I think I'm going to give them like a hot chocolate set. I think everybody's going to get the same thing. But think about going to Five Below, to Big Lots, to get something cute, but something that they can use. So I decided, since I have a little bit of downtime, I finished all my work for the day. I decided that it's time for me to record my video for Married at First Sight and my review and recap of last week's episode. So this is my setup. This is my background. This is my actual room, but this is a room divider that I bought off of Amazon last year, I think. And it has these holes here. So technically it came with shelves, and I can like put the shelves in there and like put like a potted plant or whatever. And I was like, you know, that's just a lot of effort, and I've never taken the time to do it. But this is how I normally do. I have it set up, and I told you guys I have. So this is my personal computer. Hey girl. This is my big monitor. You see I'm watching, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but this is a YouTube show, Queens Who Like to Watch. It's through Netflix, but these are drag queens, Katya and Trixie Mattel. I like their banter, and I like this particular show. And then this is my work computer. So this is what I'm looking at every day when I work from home, with 3 different monitors with 3 different things on it. So the way I normally do my Married at First Sight stuff is I use the camera on my personal computer, and I have notes that I've written on the episode that I normally pull up. And what I do is I put the notes on this big monitor. So a lot of times when I'm doing my videos, I'm looking over here to make sure I don't miss anything. And then I have my room divider. If you guys have watched Fancy, it's very simple, very basic. It's just me running my mouth about the show. I do need to put some earrings on because I hate recording without earrings. So I'm get some earrings, and then I'm going to record my video, and I'll let you guys know when it's live. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So it looks like I won't have time to cook with my son after all, because I forgot it's hair day for my daughter. So I just finished blow drying her hair, and now I'm going to, moisturize it. So I got a couple products that I like using. I just re-upped on this from Mielle. It's rosemary mint scalp and hair strengthening oil. It has biotin in it, so it's be very, very good for hair growth. So I'm going to use this. And I also have from the same company, this is their strengthening leave-in conditioner. And there are other things that I like using. I'll tell you one thing, for not necessarily just for edges, but like for braids or twists, you know how you put the product on the scalp to kind of, get the flyaways away. this. I really like using this. It's so slick. This is the Brat. This is her hair care line called Kaleidoscope, and it's so slick braid and grip gel. I really like using this. So I think I'm gonna do twist in her hair. I just watched. There's a woman I follow, and I don't know her name, so forgive me. I think it's Olivia Chukwu. I think she's on TikTok. She always has these videos of her doing her daughter's hair, lots of different kid styles, and it's a great inspiration for me. So I'm gonna recreate one of those styles in my own way. She uses basically rubber bands and twist. She uses beads as well. I'm not a fan of beads. I just don't care for them, so I've never gotten into that. But I'm going to put all this stuff in her hair. Let me show you guys her hair. So this is blow dried, and then I just sectioned it off into twists. But this is her hair. This is how long my baby girl's hair is. And see, she's watching TV, so she's not paying any attention to me whatsoever. But I'm going to put the product in her hair, and then I will show you guys the final results. See you soon. Okay, guys, so I just finished her hair, and I put her to bed, and I was like, wait a minute, I didn't show you the final result, so let me show you the result. My ladybug, say hi.
Hi.
Okay, turn around so you can see your hair. So I just put a bunch of twists in her hair, and I got some black rubber bands. I decided not to do the color rubber bands, but it's just something simple. I do her hair typically once a week, so hopefully this will last until Friday or Saturday, and then I'll take it out and do it all over again on Sunday. So just want to. Now I'm about to do my cooking lesson with my son. I actually have enough time to cook with him, so I'm going to record that next. Okay, so I am starting the cooking lesson with my handsome boy. Say hey.
Hi.
So he's going to do a cooking lesson before he goes to sleep. We are going to fry pork chops. I just explained to him the difference between, he wants to show the pork chops. We have bone-in pork chops, some thin ones. But I explained the difference between pan fry and deep fry. We're not deep frying the pork chops. We're pan frying them just to get a little crust on them. And then I'm going to put them in a slow cooker. And they're going to cook for 8 hours while we're all asleep. I'm going to get up about 6 in the morning and turn it off. And the whole house is just going to smell good and yummy. So what we're going to do, and what he's going to help me do, is we're going to season the pork chops first, front and back. You always season both sides of your meat. That is very, very important. We're going to season both sides, and then in this gallon-sized plastic bag, I'm going to put flour and the same seasoning, and then we're going to shake it up, pork chops. The oil will be heating while we do that, and then we are going to just gently pan fry. Now, you're not cooking, at least for me, when I'm pan frying pork chops, I'm going to put in a slow cooker. You're not necessarily cooking it or frying it with the intention of cooking it all the way through. Because it's going to be in the slow cooker for 8 hours, we're not worried necessarily about it being thoroughly cooked. It's mainly about it getting a little bit of crust on it. So once the crust is on there on both sides, then I'm going to just kind of put it to the side and then get my slow cooker prepared. Sometimes I put stuffing in the slow cooker with the pork chops. We're not going to do that today because my son nor my daughter really like stuffing. So it's just going to be pork chops in the slow cooker, probably with a little bit of beef broth as well, make a little gravy perhaps. And other than that, I'll make the other sides tomorrow because that's not as important. But first things first, we're going to season our pork chops. Okay, so here are the seasonings that we're going to use for the pork chops. We're using onion powder, nature seasoning, which I told you guys about before. We're using this Badia Complete seasoning. We're using some garlic powder, and we're using this garlic butter seasoning. I've seen a lot of people use this. They use the Kinder's kind. Kinder's is a little on the pricier side, so I got the McCormick version, which is basically the same thing. It's a little smaller, but it's also cheaper. So I'm going to season one side, and I'm going to let my son do the other side. Get the hang of it. Yep. And if you see that too much is coming out, you just adjust how high it is, or you adjust how you're tilting it, okay? All right, now that both sides of the pork chops have been seasoned, I've poured some flour in a bag. I don't use measurements when it comes to some things because I've been cooking for a while now. But I would say if you guys want to do this, maybe a quarter cup of flour, maybe half a cup. Keep in mind this is only for 4 pork chops. So if you have more pork chops, obviously you need to use a bit more. As you can see, I've already added all my seasoning. Now what you do is you close this up tight, like so. And then you basically are massaging the bag. This is just to incorporate all of the seasoning evenly in the flour. Okay, you never want the seasoning to just sit on top and then you start putting meat in here because all that seasoning is going to be centralized in one location of the pork chop or the chicken or whatever you're frying. And that's just going to be too salty or too whatever. So you see it's all incorporated. It looks like flour again. So now we're going to put all 4 pork chops in here and just kind of shake it around to make sure the flour coats them all. So Be right back. Okay, so we put all 4 pork chops in here. You saw I didn't put a lot of flour, so it may not be enough flour, but we are going to try. So this is back in the day. People would have a brown paper bag and you just shake it vigorously. I'm not necessarily doing that. I like this a little better because I can clearly see right away if I need to add more flour or if it's too much flour. So I prefer to use a plastic bag. And it only takes a couple shakes, and now we are done. And you can see in here that every pork chop is evenly coated. We got a little straggler right there, a little bit of pink right there. I'll make sure that that's coated. For the most part, it didn't take a lot. So now I'm going to heat up the oil and we're going to get to frying. So I'll come back when we put it in the frying pan. Can you guys hear the sizzle of the pork chop? So we have 2 in here. We didn't want to overcrowd the pan. I'm going to check right now to see if it's time to flip it. I see a little bit of brown getting under there. So this is what it's looking like. I'm just going to lift a little bit up. Oh, yeah. So we're going to flip this. Woo! It almost got me. And I was also telling my son the importance of when you're frying something, especially, to lay the meat or whatever it is down away from you. So that means laying it like this, as opposed to laying it where the bottom part is, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but basically doing that kind of prohibits the grease from hitting you as well, especially when the oil is as hot as it is. I have the heat, by the way, I never know how to do this, on 7, which I guess is medium high, so it's not too bad. And remember, we're not cooking this until it's cooked through. It probably is going to be cooked through by the time we're done, but we're mainly just doing it to get a little bit of a char. And you can't hear it, but there's definitely a little char, a little crust on there. So we're going to do these 2, then I'm going to do the next 2, and then into the slow cooker they go. Okay. Ooh, good job. Very good. Okay, the pork chops in the slow cooker. I'm not turning the slow cooker on just yet. I decided to try to make gravy from scratch. I've done it before, but it's been a while. And so basically all I did was, after we took the pork chops out, in the pan with all of the juicy drippings and the seasoning stuff, I added a tablespoon of butter. I added some flour, couldn't tell you how much, about a full tablespoon, I guess, and added some beef broth. And this is what it's looking like right now. So it's boiling. It's seasoned because the pork chops were seasoned. Some of the seasoning's still in here, but obviously you can taste it. And if it tastes like, oh, this is kind of bland, obviously you can add more seasoning. So I think I am going to check the thickness of it. I mean, I think it's still a little bit thin. I don't know if once I put it in the slow cooker if it'll get thicker, but I guess not too bad. I mean, I don't want the gravy to be too thick. I think I am going to turn the heat down though, and just cook maybe just for a tiny bit longer. I don't know, you guys, should I add more liquid? Because it's looking kind of bare. If I'm able to do that and see the thing, then that means there's not enough in here, right? Either way, I have a cheat code. If it's not enough, I did get some powdered gravy, and that's to add water to it. So always keep these on hand. I always have mushroom gravy, onion gravy, brown gravy. I always have at least 4 or 5 packs of this around the house, because you never know when you're going to need gravy. Whether it's for meat, whether you decide one day to make mashed potatoes out of the blue. Yeah, it's getting thick, but you know what? I'm not going to add any more. I'm going to leave this here, and then I think I'll check what it's looking like in the morning, and if it looks like it's not as much gravy, then I'll make the extra gravy in the morning. I'm not going to do it right now. But yeah, this time I make gravy from scratch. So I'm going to turn it off now, let it sit for a little bit, and then I'm going to pour it over the pork chops, and in the morning, the whole house is going to smell extremely savory.